promised, we have the Q&A session, or the your questions and answers session in today's YouTube video. I tried my very best to answer everybody's messages. More or less all the questions are technical, and I do believe in today's video you all guys gonna get an idea of what to do next. Where have you been stuck? What is my opinion on that? This video is related to the latest Qatar Airways cabin crew recruitment for freshers, for the people who had date of joining, and for the experienced one. There are questions like that. Stay tuned until the last minute of this video. My name is Julia George, and I come from Nextcrew social media learning platform for cabin crew. Let's start. The first question says, if I apply and fail, how many months after I can apply again? When it comes to applications for Qatar Airways, I have said many times on my social media learning platforms for cabin crew that you don't have to wait for 6 months. On the very next vacancy that it's going to be published out there, you may apply. And if that happens tomorrow, then great, you may apply tomorrow. So there is no waiting period. That usually it's there like for Emirates Airline. For example, if you apply for Emirates Airlines, you have to, and if you get rejected, you would have to wait for a period of 6 months to reapply again. Why this is in place? For the simple reason, they want to give you 6 months for some development. Maybe you can finish a course, maybe you can work in 6 months, develop some skills, and they want certain period of time that you do something before you apply again. This is not, as I have said, it's not there for Qatar Airways, so yeah, you don't have to wait, as I have mentioned. The second question says, can I pass the video interview with braces if I finish my treatment in 1.5 months? The answer for this question is actually yes. You definitely may apply. Nobody is stopping you to apply, even though you, let's say, have one year until you remove your braces. And if you get selected, you will be in contact with your coordinator, with the HR team, to see how the things will go, because one thing you need to know and you need to be sure about is you cannot fly with braces, but you will have time to remove your braces. So don't worry guys, if you have braces, that means you're working on your smile. You know, the management understands that. So yes, even you have mentioned in the question that you have 1.5 months, you definitely can apply with braces. Would you please share that video on Instagram, and please explain about making a good CV? Thank you for asking this question, and welcome to social media learning platforms called Nextcrew. And about making an excellent CV, I do have a relevant blog post on my website, nextcrew.com, which tells you how to make the perfect cabin crew CV. And there are also more than 6 videos on a separate playlist over here on my Instagram account, which is related, over here on my YouTube channel, which is related to make your CV. Right now you're panicking about this because you didn't pay attention to it earlier. This is why I emphasize, guys, I have taken a lot of time to study about CV preparations. It's an HR topic on my Master Studies in Aviation Management, so it's not a joke. If you would like to make your CV outstanding, you actually have to spend hours watching my videos. I encourage you to do that. That is how you're gonna learn how to make a good CV. And yes, this video is actually prepared for YouTube. And tell if we're 21 or 20.5, I assume she means, years old, is it okay? This is how the question has been asked. So I assume that she means 20.5 years old. So if you're 20.5, you may apply, because I also assume that by the time you get selected, you will be at least 21 years old. So if you're lacking a few months until you're 21, you may apply certainly. I'm redundant ab initio. Should I apply to the new link? They haven't contacted me yet. This is very tricky, but if you're redundant, you belong to the group of rejoiners, because for the simple reason you have a staff number. Everyone that had a staff number and was part of Qatar Airways can apply through the rejoining. And one thing I would like to also emphasize is here, have you signed your contract? If you have already signed the contract, which is something that I assume you have done, then you belong to the group of rejoiners. You don't belong to the group of new joiners or freshers, as they would call it. Hello, ma'am. Please, What does it mean if I don't receive an automatic email confirmation after applying? And this question will come later on a lot. I'm not a software, and also I wish I could be more IT educated, and I'm not. I'm more HR educated when it comes to CV preparations, when it comes to knowing what are the key skills you're supposed to include, how to work on your interpersonal skills, what are the things you're supposed to ask on a interview and stuff like that. But when it comes to things which are very clearly said it's an automatic email. So my answer to this question is that it's a system failure. It's a software failure. And I do believe that you're supposed to be patient and you're supposed to wait. Whether you're supposed to apply once again, I really don't know. After submitting the CV, for how long do we have to wait for the interview process to start? I keep on emphasizing, and I assume that you are new on my social media learning platform, and I've talked about something called manpower planning system. And we are still very much into the pandemic. What does that mean? It means that government restrictions in the countries where Qatar Airways was flying are still in place. You, as a new joiner, or as somebody who potentially will get the job as a cabin crew, would have to pass through something called a period of time until you get recruited. And this all depends on which phase you are planned to be enrolled into the flying or into the in-flight service of Qatar Airways as part of the manpower planning system. This is what I mean to say. So a precise date of how much time it's going to take, especially now, cannot be given. Ma'am, I would like to request you to at least tell us how the interview process will be at this time. So what you are going through now is something so-called an open day or a CV selection. Once your CV gets selected, my assumption or my knowledge says that the next stage is going to be a video interview. After you have passed that video interview, the next stage is going to be an interview one-on-one with a recruiter. And after that, I really cannot share because the HR teams, I do believe they're still working on finding a solution. But one thing I can promise you and I can tell you is that the entire stage or the entire selection process for a cabin crew cannot be completely online. I do believe that the recruiters must see you and you must have a final interview face to face. So therefore, I would like to share with every candidate who's watching this video is that you cannot expect a full coverage, online coverage until you get selected. You might be on a call with a recruiter who's going to be asking you about your scars and things like that, but yet the final interview, I do believe, is going to be face to face. And I don't think you're supposed to travel to Qatar for the final interview. I strongly believe that the recruiters will come to your country, or there will be a final solution which will meet both the expectations, the recruiters and yours. But don't worry, you won't be asked to pay money. If you have to travel to Qatar for a final interview, I'm very sure that is going to be covered by the airline or by Qatar Airways in this case. Does it need to attach our university or high school degree? So there is one place where when you are applying, where it says that you're supposed to attach documents. So at this place, I would say attach your degree, attach your bachelor degree, attach your high school degree, whatever degree that you have. Attach your cover letter. Cover letter is not needed, but you have a place where you can attach documents in order to display that you can go beyond what has been expected from you. If we talk a lot about going beyond the expectations of the customers, displaying to the recruiters that you understand what does it mean to go beyond the expectations of the customers. How about displaying yourself that you can go beyond what is expected from you and prepare, let's say, a CV with a great photo of yourself, or upload a cover letter in which you are displaying how much motivated you are for the job role of a cabin crew for Qatar Airways in this case. I passed flight attendant course, but I never been active. Is it better to mention or not? So definitely, since you have been going under a cabin crew course and you have the certificate for that, then I would encourage you to absolutely mention and include that in your curriculum vitae. How is possible that thousands of laid-off crew like me aren't still back and they're looking for freshers? I was expecting this question, and in fact, this is the very same thing that I have texted Niti Belani, my dear friend Niti Belani, when she shared with me the vacancy. This is the first thing that I have told her. I said, how come a lot of laid-off crew are not back and they're looking for freshers? Dear, you were ex-Qatar Airways cabin crew that have asked me this question, and I thought about the group of people that belongs to this group first, the moment I saw the vacancy. And what I can sincerely tell you is that you, as a laid-off crew, if you are accepted to go back, some of the laid-off crew who reapplied have been accepted, and they have had their date of joining in 2021 this year, but due to COVID and due to the third wave of COVID, they have been postponed. One thing that I can tell you is that everyone who had the date of joining as an laid-off cabin crew is going to fly first, then the freshers. Please be reminded that I wouldn't say these people, I would say these candidates that are looked for are part of a strategy, are part of the manpower planning system of Qatar Airways. They're not going to fly tomorrow. They will most probably fly after 6 months, if not 1 year. But they're part of the planning system, because in case, and this is not in case, when the government restrictions will be raised up, Qatar Airways will need an amount of cabin crew or a certain number to deal with in terms of enrollment for trainings and things like that. And they certainly do not have priority over people who have been laid off and who are going to be accepted. I do believe that as a laid off cabin crew, you have fulfilled the application for rejoining. And if your application for rejoining is accepted, they will not fly before you. Be sure in that. Be very sure in what I'm telling you. They are part of the planning strategy for the airline. And as I have said, they will fly at a later stage when they will be recruited, selected, so on and so forth. Right now, many candidates are worried about what's coming on the next stage. And I understand that. But let me tell you something to the candidates as well. You guys have to know that the laid off crew, the people who are accepted to fly again, they would have the priority over you. And but we're not going to be discussing the Qatar Airways strategy. I'm just telling to you that the airline has to have a strategy. They cannot find themselves, not having enough people to be enrolled into flying. We're all looking at the period of time when aviation is recovering. We are in a period of time when aviation is recovering. And soon, we all hope that's going to be a period of time, maybe 1 to 3 years to 5 years, depends on the level of optimism that we have as people in the aviation industry. We all one day going to find ourselves in the aviation industry being fully, operated with all its capacities in all the different stages and levels in the aviation industry. What should be the background color in my photo? I do have a video which is called Photo Requirements for Qatar Airways, and I encourage you to please have a look at that video, because I would sincerely not take much time to explain in this question, as this is something I have covered at long ago. If they invite me, but I couldn't go, what will happen? You will most probably be disqualified. As mentioned in previously, we will see whether they invite you, whether, how you will go for the latest, your final interview, whether the recruiters will fly to you. There will still be a module. Guys, you have to wait. This is a process. But one thing is for sure, if that costs money, it will be covered by the airline. How many months does the whole process of applying and then getting accepted takes? I have discussed this question earlier, and I don't think I'm going to take much time to elaborate and say we're still in the pandemic and we're still part of the planning and development of the airline of Qatar Airways. We don't know when they will call you, just like the way we were surprised now to get the vacancy very early. We have to be patient. We have to wait and see what the HR teams are having as a strategy. Why are they opening a general recruitment when ex-crew not have any update yet? It's a crying emoji at the end, and I have explained it. It's part of the manpower planning system of Qatar Airways. And ladies and gentlemen, I do have a video which is called How Do the Recruiters Know How Many Cabin Crew They're Supposed to Recruit? And that video covers up the whole explanation, the entire explanation about the manpower planning system. And do not be discouraged, please. This is not something against you as an ex-cabin crew. It's part of a strategy, of a future strategy. Is it normal not to receive an email after submitting my CV? Thanks for your help. It's absolutely normal. Why? If I get 20 messages every minute on my Instagram account, and I do believe that in this 2 days or 3 days, I have answered over 5,000 messages. I think that Qatar Airways has reached their maximum and they have received a triple amount perhaps of applications. There can be a system failure, there can be a software failure. So definitely it is absolutely normal. And with technology, everything can happen. Please, do redundant crew have to reapply for freshers, and even though they applied through the rejoining? Absolutely not. You're redundant, you used to work for the airline and you have already applied through the rejoining vacancy. If you have applied through the rejoining vacancy earlier, that means you're still in the system. But if you have not applied over the rejoining vacancy, which was a while ago, then you can reapply on this vacancy. I'm very sure that there will be no problem, but only if you have not reapplied earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, the redundant cabin crew, you also have to be aware of the fact that there are so many crew who don't want to go back. Many crew have moved on with their life. They were redundant, they were laid off, and many of them have found, different fields of interest, and they're not going to go fly again. So therefore, you also have to be informed and know about this as well. Ma'am, they're asking about previous job experience and salary expectations. Of course, they will ask about previous job experience. This is what I always encourage and I always say on my social media learning platforms, that you guys should strive for getting a work experience. With only high school degree, chances to get selected as a cabin crew for Qatar Airways or any other Middle Eastern airline are very low. Why? For the simple reason, there are thousands of candidates who are going over what is expected from them in terms of work experience, in terms of educational background. Strive for education, strive for work experience, please. And salary expectations, I would personally write something around $900 because this is something which covers up the frame of the basic salary of Qatar Airways cabin crew. You may also write $500. I don't say this question is something you should be worrying about. Just do not write $5,000, please. I didn't receive any email when I applied. Is that okay? And this question has been answered. Please, do redundant crew have to reapply for freshers even though they applied through the rejoining? And this question has been also answered. Thank you for your help, sharing and caring for next crew. I love this message. Thank you very much for sharing this and, not forgetting to say thank you. So thank you. Ma'am, my running age is 21, so I'm eligible for Qatar Airways? Definitely yes. Beauty is an issue because I'm black color. Beauty is not connected to skin color, and in Qatar Airways, so the other airlines in the world, you will see all the different skin colors because it's not about the beauty, it's about the skills. The next question says, should I show my accounts experience for this job? Please let me know. I am confused. Yes, you can show definitely your accounts experience, your accounting experience in this job, but please try to present it as a customer service experience in terms of interactions with your customers, in terms of, how you were communicating with them, what was important for you, so you can connect it to the cabin crew job. You must find that fine connection between your accountant job and your cabin crew job, future cabin crew job, as that is definitely possible. Tips to prepare for a video interview. This is something which I have covered up in a separate playlist on my YouTube channel. It is called Video Interview for Qatar Airways or something like that. If you go out of this video when you're done watching, of course, after subscribing as well, you may check the playlist and you will see a separate playlist related to the video interview, online video interview, with also the video interview questions and answers that are taking in place. Ma'am, I don't have any prior job experience. Then what should I fill in the job experience details? So in this section, you cannot invent hot water, basically. This is how we call it. If you do not have a job experience, you do not have it. You just simply leave this page blank. I also have encouraged in many of my social media presence that you can, cover that section up, let's say with some voluntary work. If you have done it, please do not lie if you have not done anything. However, this is something that is alarming you, that in future you should focus to gain some experience, because although Qatar Airways is not hiring is not wanting from candidates to have a work experience, unlike Emirates Airlines, for instance, there are sections which are requiring a work experience. So people would say, yes, they hire freshers, but I would tell you, no, Qatar Airways definitely hires experienced candidates, because in this section, there will be a lot of people who will be brilliant with great work experience. How many rounds will be there? This question cannot be answered at this very moment, because we're still very deep into the pandemic, and as we are finding ways to fulfill, or you're finding a way to fulfill your online application successfully, believe me, the HR teams of the airlines are working very hard to find out how many rounds they will need to also be successful in their job, because you're applying for a job and they're working in a job where they're supposed to find people. Let's say the video interview can be 2 to 3 rounds, and later on we would have to wait and see how things will be developing in future for your future recruitment process. Ma'am, if we complete 1 year plus 12, can we apply even we still have 1 year course to be done? I think you're supposed to have that high school degree diploma, and if you do not have it, you cannot apply. Is it possible if I can apply for this job because I'm 20 years old, but I'm experienced? That is nice, but you have to be at least 21. Now, what is interesting here, you definitely can apply. You are 20 years, and by the time you get selected, you will be 21. So I do believe that, if you are experienced, as you say, and, you have the relevant experience that it's going to wow the recruiters or the HR teams would like it, I would definitely encourage you to please apply. Should I make an account to log in using my username before applying to this job, or it's not necessary? If you do not make your online profile, you cannot apply for the job. This is what I know. What's the interview process? Video interview, another video interview, and then later we would have to wait and see. I applied again, but I didn't get any email. Thanks for applying for the position. Few of them got yes. And I do believe, as I mentioned earlier, that is due to some system or software failure, because a lot of candidates has applied. Would you please tell us about the dress code we must have in the event or the interview? Thank you. I have a video which is called The Real Qatar Airways Cabin Crew Makeup, and I also have a video about the male cabin crew grooming. And in those two videos, I have shared about the dress code, and I've talked about the cabin crew makeup, and I have a separate video which is related to the male cabin crew. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the requirements, there is literally not a topic that I have not covered, and it's over here on my YouTube channel. If we clear the interview in India, where we have to give our medicals, the medicals you will most probably have to do in your own country, but that is something that would come up later after you have passed the final interview. So let's first worry about the final interview. I'm still researching and trying to find out what is going to happen when the final interview, when the stage, for assessment, you would have to go through an assessment and you would have to pass a final interview. And as I have mentioned earlier, ladies and gentlemen, in this job, you cannot fully go all the processes online, especially for the Middle Eastern airlines. This is what I believe. What is the approximate time to receive a confirmation or to be rejected? Let's look at the time frame about 21 days. I think in the time frame about 21 days or 3 weeks or 1 month, they would know who they like, who they don't like. You're part of a planning and development strategy. You're part of a manpower planning system. I would not be able to give you a precise and a correct number. I could only tell you to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, please be patient. Do not expect a lot and do not expect very fast, but be ready. This is what I can recommend sincerely. Ab initios who were already in training were made redundant. No need for them to apply, only rejoin. You had a staff number. I assume you have, you have signed a contract. So if you have a staff number and you have already signed a contract, I do believe you're supposed to reapply on the rejoining under the rejoining vacancy. If you have not applied under the rejoining vacancy, then you may try your luck and apply from this vacancy. What's happened when we select in first round of video interview? If you get selected after the first round and after you have passed that video interview, most probably you will go on a video interview with a recruiter or with an HR representative. Hi, Julie. Please share your opinion why QR still didn't get back to the redundant crew but opened vacancy for new. As I have mentioned earlier, these people or these candidates, I'm very sorry to say these people, but the candidates that are, the freshers, if I may say, will not go and fly over the laid off and redundant crew. I'm very sure in that because they're part of the planning and development strategy from the manpower planning system. And if your application, if you're redundant / laid off and your application to rejoin has been accepted, you will definitely fly before them. But if your application is not accepted, if you have not been successfully accepted back then, I'm very sorry, but this is what I can sincerely tell you. The new joiners, the freshers, under no circumstance will go and fly over the candidates or the rejoiners who have already gotten their date of joining, I don't know, a few months ago, let's say. What kind of photos should I attach? Should I be in full makeup? I have a video which is called Photo Requirements for Qatar Airways, and I do encourage you to please have a look at that video. Thank you. With braces on, should I have a closed mouth while smiling picture on CV or just have a CV without picture? Doesn't matter you have braces. I would always put a picture with a smile. Having braces, guys or ladies and gentlemen, having braces and applying for the cabin crew job, it's not a crime. It is totally the opposite. It shows to the HR team that you are worrying about your smile, that your smile very soon will be aligned. So don't worry. I encourage everyone who has braces, take a picture of yourself, put it on your CV. You are applying for a job where look really, really matters. So do it. For keywords, if I use professional instead of professionalism as mentioned in QA, web will it work? If Qatar Airways is using professionalism, then why you don't use professionalism, let's say, in your key skills section? Try to use certain words that are same from the vacancy. Certain sentences that can be incorporated, short sentences, not entire sentence, in your CV. You have to meet the applicant tracking system. I do have a video on the applicant tracking system, so do not hesitate to use the correct word or the entire word itself. I encourage you, again, I'm emphasizing you have to meet the applicant tracking system. Can I become a cabin crew if I have a small birthmark on my wrist and leg? When it comes to birthmarks, when it comes to scars, this is something that will be decided on a later stage along with the HR team and the medical team or the doctors of Qatar Airways. So I'm not discouraging you to apply, the totally opposite. I'm encouraging you to apply, and later on they will decide whether that is going to be a problem or not. I'm turning 21 in September. Should I consider applying? Why not? I have talked about the age requirements couple of minutes ago in this video, so definitely if you are in a couple of months before turning 21, I encourage everyone to please apply. What is happening in 15th August? The vacancy is available until 15th of August. What's going to happen on 15th of August? Most probably every employee in Qatar Airways Group is going to go to work just like every other day. Expected interview questions, especially related in COVID-19. So I do have a video which is called How COVID-19 is going to change the aviation industry. And in fact, I have a separate playlist which is called Aviation and COVID-19. And in that separate playlist, I also have the new questions I have published and given an answer to all the possible new questions that will come up during the interview process. And I've given the relevant answers and how you're supposed to formulate the answer of those questions. So literally, there is no topic that it's not covered. I will be doing update on a regular basis when it comes to publishing videos, but my YouTube channel, X Crew Next Crew by Julia George, is a serious learning platform for the future cabin crew. Ma'am, interview process and training difficulty level. Is it difficult or same as others? If you scroll down in my videos, you would see some videos which are related to the cabin crew training. There is a video related to the location diagram, how to learn the location diagram, what are the tips, when you are in training and things like that. So since you have been, or if you are selected to be a cabin crew, you have nothing to worry about this because the level of difficulties for the training is pretty much adjusted to the intelligence level of the candidates that are selected. So very, very, very rarely, almost never, When I'm saying very, very, very rarely, it happens, but very rarely that somebody fails in trainings, because you have an amazing team of trainers who are going to guide you through all the difficulties. It's not difficult from my point of view. I would say if you're dedicated, if you love what you study, and if you would love your job, what you're going to be doing, it's going to definitely be a piece of cake. How to dress for the interview day. There is a video called the best Qatar Airways cabin crew makeup, and also about the male grooming requirements. There is a separate video on my YouTube channel over here, and I'm explaining over there very much in details, straight away from the grooming of Qatar Airways, what are the things that I recommend you to have when you will go for that interview. And do not forget, if you're doing a video interview, the dress code is equally important. I also do have on my Instagram account, XCrew, a lot of posts which are related to the grooming and how you're supposed to be dressed. So also my Instagram account, XCrew, is a social media learning platform for future cabin crew. Good day, ma'am. I hope you can read this. Yeah, I can read it. Thank you. What is the maximum age to join to Qatar Airways? I have a video which is called Age Requirements for Qatar Airways, and in that video, you're going to see a full answer to your question. Do we have to receive a confirmation email? I don't think so you have to, but I think it's good to receive a confirmation email. And in this case, if you have not received a confirmation email, I do believe that your application has been received. I'm very sure you have received the thank you, end of your application. Nevertheless, as mentioned earlier, I do believe that it's a system and software failure due to a massive amount of applications. If I'm receiving 20 messages per minute, I do believe Qatar Airways is receiving 200 applications per minute in the upcoming, in the next 3 days that we're talking about the vacancy that has come up. Should the background of our photo in the CV be navy blue or white for cabin crew with Qatar Airways? I recommend navy blue, yet I have a video called Photo Requirements for Qatar Airways. Do use those guidelines from that video and you will know the answer. What to mention in salary expectations as per company's norms? Okay. So I have said, as mentioned earlier, you may write something about around $900 or even $500. Just do not write 5,000, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come up to the end of the questions that you have asked on my Instagram account. Some of the questions were repeating and some that were very same I have not read it, because I do believe that, it's not nice to take more of your time when you're watching this video. This video is already getting very lengthy. Thank you very much for being part of XCrew social media learning platform. And once again, if you have any other questions related to the cabin crew, Qatar Airways cabin crew requirements or qualifications, there is a separate list which is called Qatar Airways cabin crew requirements. You have a separate playlist on my YouTube channel which is related to the cabin crew interview questions and answers, to the video interview questions and answers, to the aviation and COVID. What are the things that you're supposed to learn when it comes to aviation and COVID? CV preparation, about the cover letter. If you want to go on the playlist and check, you may. If not, just scroll down on the videos. There are 167 videos over here, and they're all elaborating the topic of becoming a cabin crew and learning about the aviation. Do not forget also to read me on xcrew.com, as also that is a serious learning platform for future cabin crew, and also to follow me on my Instagram account, xcrew. I'm going to be seeing you very soon. Meanwhile, I'm wishing to all the candidates best of luck, and send me all your feedback or all your outcome from your vacancies. And remember, do not forget that if you do not get selected, I sincerely hope that everyone is going to get selected, but we all know that's not possible because they won't be able to recruit over 10,000 cabin crew at this moment. However, if you do not get selected, do try to look at the parameters in which I have spoken about in many of my social media appearances. And these parameters are: how was your application prepared? How was your CV prepared? Did you have a cover letter? How is your grooming, your work experience, and your education? Ladies and gentlemen, your work experience and your education are the weapon you are fighting to get any job in the world, not only the cabin crew job. And I'm going to be seeing you very soon. Bye-bye and have a nice day.